Hey guys, today we're going to be changing the oil on a 2002 Honda Odyssey. This particular generation ran through model years 1999 through 2004, so if you've got a van of one of those years, this will apply to you. A few things that I like to use when I am changing my own oil has to do with the equipment. So I've just got a set of ramps here. They're a little bit rusty, but they're structurally sound, so that'll work. That's always good to have. Just got a standard little plastic oil changing pan. These are usually pretty cheap. I'm going to use some Pennzoil 5W20 and then also a Fram 3593A. If you want, you can buy a little bit higher end parts, but I don't know how long I'll have the van, so I'm just using kind of middle of the road stuff. Also, other things that are good to have: ratchet with an oil filter wrench on here. These you can pick up for, $5 to 10 bucks. They're definitely worth the price of having, just getting one that fits custom. I've got a ratchet to get the oil plug out of there. I believe this is a 15 millimeter one. I'll verify that for sure once I actually get underneath it there. And once I am underneath there, one of the things that is easiest for me to use is I have a little creeper. You don't have to have one, but goodness gracious, they sure help the heck out. First off, we're going to start by getting it up on these ramps. We'll take it from there. Okay, the worst part is over. We've got the vehicle up on the ramps. Now it's time to loosen up the cap here, so that way we can actually let the air escape when we are draining the oil. This is the glorious 3.5 liter V6 that Honda used for this generation. Bask in its glory. Leave that up here for the time being, and then we are going to sneak down below. Okay, so here we are underneath the vehicle. And what you're looking for is the bottom of the oil pan, which is over here on the passenger side. And if we scoot all the way back, we can see there's our happy little plug right there. Okay, so now after trying the wrong size of a ratchet, we're going to try the 17, and what do you know, it works. This is going to be the hard part, is getting it loose. Alrighty, so I have it loose. Note that I have taken the plug out of my little drain catcher thingy bobby here, so that way the oil actually flows into it. If you just want to use some sort of bucket or other sort of tub, by all means, feel free. Also note that if your engine is hot, the engine oil will also be hot. So when you are taking this out, just be careful. Don't get burned. Take good care of yourself. Be nice to your body. Note that I haven't taken the filter out yet, because this plug has got to come out first. I'm probably just going to let it drop when it goes. Nice and roasty toasty. Coming a little faster. There it goes. Woohoo! Also note that the surface that you're doing it on, my garage floor is actually sealed, so I'm not too worried about getting oil on it. But if yours is not, just be aware that oil changes can be messy. So we're going to let that go ahead and drain for a while. And I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting the actual filter off. Now look at this, people. Look how nice Honda is to you. Okay, so here, if you can kind of see that, so the oil pan is over here, and just right over here we have the oil filter, and you can actually get to it. You don't have to scrape any knuckles. It's not painful. It's just right there. And I send my love to them, all my gratitude. So using our special handy dandy ratchet tool, we're just going to use that to get it loosened up, and then we're going to take this off the rest of the way by hand. Of course, it's always better to put your oil pan under there before you start loosening it, so take note, don't be like me. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. Any second now. Oh man. Delish. So just let that go ahead and drain. Make sure that if your oil is still draining from the oil pan, that your basin is positioned so that it's catching both the oil filter and also the oil pan, whatever's leaking there. Alright, now that all the old stuff is off, we can actually move on to putting on the new fancy pants stuff. So here is my brand spanking new oil filter. It looks so nice. We've got a brand new seal on there, and what I'm going to do here is take a little bit of the oil, our brand new very clean oil, and I'm going to rub that around on the surface of that seal there just to get a nice good seal with where it belongs. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but just a little bit on there. Alrighty, and as you may have guessed, I have already replaced the plug on the oil pan there. Again, that's a 17 millimeter size on that, so that's there, so we're not leaking oil off of that anymore. As we go and take a peek up over here, I have cleaned that up. Well, it was cleaned. It's a little bit more dripped out there, but that's not a big deal. Cleaned that up. I've also made sure that the old seal is not still hanging out on there anymore. So I am going to go ahead and put my new one on there. And even though I used the ratchet to get it off, I'm only going to hand tighten this on there because I don't want to over tighten it, and that should be sufficient. So we've got nice good contact there. That's all good to go. We've got the oil pan plugged, so this thing is ready for some brand new oil. Now, it's entirely possible that you may be good at pouring, but I am not one of those such individuals, so I'm going to use a funnel just to make a little bit less mess. I'm going to grab my 5 quarts here, and I'm probably going to put about 4 quarts into it. This engine takes 5 quarts. I've got about 1 left. I'm going to yank this out of here after it's all drained for the most part. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this up for the time being, simply because sometimes the moving parts within there, when the engine is running, will spray a little bit of oil. This is the engine oil dipstick. It's orange. That threw me off for a long time because there's a yellow one down in here, and I always thought that was the engine oil because typically engine oil dipsticks are yellow. But this was orange. A little diversity there. So I'm going to get this thing off the jacks here. Let that engine oil get in there a little bit. I'll check the oil level and see where we're sitting at here, and just check to make sure that nothing is dripping under there, doing stuff we don't want it to. Okay, so the engine's been sitting a while. I have cleaned the dipstick, and now I'm checking it. This probably doesn't show up on camera too well. Try and get a decent angle here out of here, but the oil is actually almost up to the second dot. I'm going to toss a little bit more in there and see how it comes out. Alright, so I added a little bit more, and again, this really isn't going to show up on camera, but the oil level is up to that second dot, which means it's full, so we are good to go. Okay, so go ahead and clean your tools up and put them away. One of the things that I usually do is take the used engine oil to sort of automotive parts store. They usually recycle the oil there free of charge, and that way it doesn't end up someplace that it ought not to be. And then also, last but not least, I usually tear off the little tab on the filter carton and write down the mileage, which this van has 193,000 miles on it, so we're getting up there. We'll see how much longer it lasts before it completely falls apart. Might not be that much longer, but anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time.